Alright guys, this is going to be a first in a new series of videos, and it's going to be, as the title suggests, me rating some of the units that we use on the table in 40k and fantasy. Starting with, I'm just going to crack on basically, there's no point doing stupid introductions. I'm going to start with a 40k unit first. One of my favourite units in the game, not necessarily power wise, but just the unit, the models are fantastic. The fluff behind the unit is brilliant in my opinion, and it's just a really nice unit. And we're gonna start with the Sanguinary Guard from Blood Angels. Now the Sanguinary Guard, quick run through of the war gear and the stats are, 4s right across. They're pretty much a Space Marine with artificer armor and leadership 10. So if you know the stats for Space Marine, then there you go. You've got +1 attack, leadership 10, and a 2+ save, on top of being everything else Space Marine. The unit type is jumping infantry. The war gear, they have artificer armor, a jump pack, and frag and crack grenades. Almost standard loadout with the frag and crack grenades and jump pack, pretty much assault marines with better armor. And they have the glaive in carmine, which is a two-handed mastercrafted power weapon, which is really nice for your basic troopers to have mastercrafted weapons. Normally some characters that can take mastercrafted weapons, so this is a really nice, piece of war gear that these guys get. Has its downsides, which we'll come to in a second. They also have the Angel's Bolt Gun, which is an assault 2 weapon, half the range of a bolter, same strength but 1 better AP. So without giving too much away, that's the stats for Angel's Bolt Gun. Options they can take: we can take a chapter banner, which if you know what chapter banner does, then that's great. If not, without giving too much away, it lets you increase a certain stat that you use in close combat by 1. And they can also take death masks, which is a nice piece of equipment. It doesn't always, pay off. When you need it to, it's probably not going to work. But basically, it's a leadership test on the unit you're assaulting, or their weapon skill 1, the remainder of the phase. That's really nice, but when that needs to pay off against hard-hitting combat troops, the normal leadership 10 or fearless, so it's probably going to pass anyway. So it's a nice ability, it's just not reliable. Special rules, the Descent of Angels special rule, if you know the Blood Angels Codex, is you scatter less when you deep strike. You only scatter 1 dice instead of 2, and you get to reroll your reserve rolls, which is really good. It makes these guys, if they're coming in from reserve, which we're going to get onto in a second, how I suggest you should enter play is from reserve. We'll get into some tactical things in a minute. It makes it really reliable for turning up because you get to reroll that dice. So 4+ turn 1, you've got a 75% chance of getting these guys in turn 1 where you need them. And when we kit them out, they should be kitted out, then it's a really nice thing to have. They have the Red Thirst, which again is a Blood Angel special rule. On a roll of a 1, the unit exchanges combat tactics for Furious Charge and Fearless, which is very nice thing to have. However, this unit is already fearless. I found a special rule, they already come as fearless, which is great. With a 2 armor save, fearless isn't a problem. Some units, like Tyranids for example, Orcs, can really suffer from being fearless. Such a low armor save, you're taking more saves in combat, then you're just gonna, your squad gets obliterated if you lose combat, obviously. But with a 2 armor save, fearless is fantastic. You don't run away, you're unlikely to take wounds as a result of combat res. So these guys being fearless is fantastic. Now we'll get onto the unit itself. To deck it out, in my opinion, the best combination of war gear to take is you take 1 guy with a chapter banner, 2 guys with Infernus pistols, 1 guy with a power fist, and leave 1 guy standard. That'll bring you up to 260 points for this unit. It's only 5 men. There's a unit cap on the unit at 5, which is pretty bad in my opinion because they're really expensive. They really are a premium unit. So if one of these guys dies, then it's really going to hurt. They're a great unit, but they're not like Terminators. You can't, like your Thunderhammer Nators, you can throw them at anything. Doesn't matter what it is, and they'll probably come out the other side smiling in a great position. But Sanguinary Guard really don't have that luxury of being able to hit anything hard, which is the only bad side about the Sanguinary Guard. Is they're probably one of the best combat troops the Blood Angels have, other than maybe Death Company and Thunder Hammerers. And what you want these guys to do, ideally, is go against other armies combat elite. The problem is, without any vulnerable save, which these guys do not have, no storm shields, no excuse me guys, no storm shields, no combat shields, no special rules like 5+ vulnerable save, nothing like that. No, they're normally going up against power weapon wielding maniacs. So in that instance, they really don't cut it as a combat unit, unfortunately. Master crafted power weapons are nice. With that chapter banner in there, they get 4 attack seats on the charge. They all get to reroll 1, which by the way makes these units quite annoying because you have to roll each guy separately, 4 dice, reroll 1 if he misses. I've seen people try and roll handfuls of dice and reroll 5, but obviously you don't know who's missed there, and that's actually cheating if someone does that. So I know it speeds up the game, but it's actually cheating, because you look at, I won't get to that, it's getting way off topic, and keep on topic of the things, but it is cheating, so you have to roll each guy separately. So I mentioned about using them tactically. In my opinion, using Sanguinary Guard, they should come in from reserve. You can start them on the board, but the best thing about Sanguinary Guard is that Descent of Angels special rule is they can reliably deep strike almost exactly where you want them, unless you put Dante in there, which is another great, probably what you should always do for taking Sanguinary Guard, is stick Dante in there, and they drop down exactly where you want them. 3 Infernus pistol shots on a rear armour of anything, even a Land Raider is probably going to drop to Sanguinary Guard, which obviously is brilliant. This is what you want, guys. These are like the shock troops. I found that using them to try, if you're playing Grey Knights and you launch these guys into a Grey Knight Terminate unit, they'll just die. There'll be halberdiers in there, they'll get stabbed in the face before they get to attack, because only in a shoot 4. Excuse me. They just can't cut it against combat elite. But the shock attack troops are brilliant. Drop these guys in behind them Cyphermen, and watch them Infernus pistols rip into shreds. And it gives them something to think about, because the rest of your army's coming from the front, suddenly they're dropping behind, and now they've got to turn around, they deal with the Sanguinary Guard, they deal with the rest of your army coming forward. It adds an interesting dynamic to the army. So that's pretty much the Sanguinary Guard in a nutshell. To sum up what the unit in itself, it's a great shock attack unit, can have a fairly decent damage output. They're fast because of the jump packs, they're survivable because they artifice for armour, but they do have some major drawbacks in that they have no invulnerable save, they're a very expensive unit, the unit's capped at 5, and arguably the Glazing Carmine is a downside because you can't get +1 attack in combat, which as a combat troop, more attacks is always better. And they're fairly average strength, they're only strength of a Space Marine, so there's a downside. Taking all the pros and cons into account, I'd say this unit is probably worth 3 beasts out of 5. That's going to be my new scoring system. Everything's going to get a beast rating, 5 beasts being the best, 0 beasts or 1 beast being the best. So these guys, probably 3 beasts out of 5 would be fair. If used well, they can be fantastic, but they're not a particularly reliable unit when you need them to be. They can be, like I say, if you put them in the right place, they'll perform. Put them in the wrong place, or try and make them do something that they can't do, they'll just fail. It's 3 beasts out of 5 for the Sanguinary Guard, guys. It's been the first unit rating video. For the next one, put comments in the box below, and I'll randomly select one comment, and that will be the next unit I'll do. It can be anything you like. It can be a vehicle, character, unit, it can be 40k, it can be fantasy. Not too much Lord of the Rings, don't know much about Lord of the Rings. Keep it to 40k fantasy, and we'll see where the next video will bring in the unit rating system. So, first one on the board, Sanguinary Guard, 3 beasts. Peace out, guys. I'll put your comments in.